Well, my friends, you finished reading The Lottery for the first, second, maybe more times. What'd you think? I'm not going to ask you if you liked it. It's kind of a gruesome story. It is one of my favorite narratives, though, because I think it really shows what societies are capable of in the name of tradition. I could go on and on about that. But anyway, I've given you some thoughts here. Some people were scandalized in 1948 when it first appeared, called outrageous, gruesome. I don't know how anyone approved of the story. Do you think now, with all the horror flicks that we're used to, do you think we would be as appalled? I don't know. Some terms to consider as we think about this. We talked about situational irony last week with The Gift of the Magi. We've got the same thing here. Situation seems to lead to one thing and it leads to something else. Usually when you win a lottery, it's a good thing. Everybody applauds you, and now they throw rocks at you. The rural small town atmosphere that you think is everybody knows everybody likes everybody. The beginning of the story, everybody talks about the weather, knows about each other's crops. And then little Davy Hutchinson, usually we want the child to be fond of the mother, and instead they give him handfuls of rocks. My goodness. Gothic fiction, this is a very good example of that. Gothic fiction used to be just anything set in the medieval times, usually in castles. And castles are dark and gloomy and sometimes haunted, so it became gradually used to mean horror. Usually the horror that comes from the past. So the lottery is very definitely Gothic, even though there's not a castle in sight. It comes from the past, the deep, dark, shadowy past. Symbol, an object that the author uses to represent something else. The black box for the lottery tickets, I said there it's long past. It's black. It's also coming apart. It's also a replacement for the old one. They keep thinking about replacing it. They never do. It shows the past. It also shows how dark it is. I suppose you could even say even the black mark that labels the one who wins the lottery. Also, I think probably the fact that Mr. Summers, who is in charge of the lottery, also conducts every year the Halloween program. The connection between Halloween and the lottery, I don't think that's accidental. Plot voucher. Now, this is an interesting thing. This comes from the playwright Anton Chekhov, Russian. He said that if you introduce a smoking gun at the beginning of a narrative, it better go off by the end. The same thing is true. If a gun goes off at the end, you better have shown it, described it in the beginning. You've got the same thing here at the beginning, second paragraph. Bobby Martin has already stuffed his pockets full of stones. The other boys soon followed his example. We don't think anything of it the first time we read this story because we think it's boys, they're stuffing their pockets full of rocks. I have a 3-year-old grandson who does that just about every day. But here it becomes more important at the end when those rocks are actually used. We have tone and mood, same terms that we talked about last week with The Gift of the Magi. Here it's different. Instead of a tone being the narrator feeling sympathy for the characters, this narrator is fairly objective, just describing what's happening, doesn't seem horrified in the least. Mood, the bucolic atmosphere, the calm, peaceful atmosphere is the same, and the villagers are trying to hurry up through this so they can go back to their farms. Interesting. Gives me the creeps. Let me know what you think.